Ian Garry's performance against Bilal Muhammad was impressive, and this was one of those fights where you see a guy answer every single question people had about him. The whole narrative going in was, yeah, he's tall, yeah, he's fast, but can he stop Bilal's wrestling? And Garry just didn't just stop it. He shut it all down. Bilal walked into the cage trying to do what he always does, push you, back, chain wrestle, and try to drown you. But Garry made him look like he was shooting takedowns underwater. The striking was just as nasty. Garry kept Bilal stuck behind a wall of jabs and low kicks. And those low kicks were messing with Bilal early. One of them literally took Bilal off his feet for a second. That's crazy when you think about who Bilal is, a dude that usually is the one that's dictating the pace and balance. Garry mixed up the levels well too. He'll go to the calf kicks, then go high feint, then straight shot up the pipe. And every time Bilal thought he found an entry, Garry just circled out and reset the range and made him walk through hell all over again. And what made it even more impressive was how calm Garry looked. Bilal pressured, Bilal swung hard, and Bilal tried to shift the fight into an inside war. And Garry never broke rhythm. He fought like somebody who knew exactly what it took to win this fight. He kept it standing, kept it clean, don't get tied up, don't let Bilal drag you into a grind, and he executed it perfectly. Another thing people don't talk about enough is that Bilal actually landed some good shots though. He hit Garry with a clean right hand early, and Garry ate it like a protein bar and went right back to kicking his legs. In this fight, he stayed locked in. He didn't get sloppy. Even when Bilal tried to crack him with close distance, Garry's defense and composure just held up. And honestly, this fight exposed something real about Bilal's game too. Bilal is elite when he can wrestle. He's elite when he can pressure and clinch. He's elite when he can make it ugly. But if you take the wrestling away, if you stuff the shots and force him to strike for long stretches, he becomes very human. Garry basically proved that Bilal style has a ceiling when you can't take him down. We even saw that in the JDM fight too. By the time round 3 rolled around, Garry looked like the guy in control of everything, snapping Bilal's head back with straight shots, beating him in most of the exchanges, keeping his feet under him, staying out of danger, and the judges reflected that. 30-27 on the multiple cards? That was clean, dude. No debate. For a guy everyone said isn't ready for an elite wrestler, that was him saying, "Shut up, mate. I'm here." I don't know why I made a Tom Aspinall impression, but yeah. And guys, I'm not going to be around the bush. We need Islam Makhachev versus Ian Garry next. Okay? I know some people are out here saying Michael Morales should get Islam next, or that Kamaru Usman deserves the next title shot. Actually, nobody's actually saying that. That Usman deserves the title shot except Ali on Twitter and Triple C. And Carlos Prates, I like the dude, but he still needs another win. He ain't there yet. Ian Garry is the one who actually earns the spot in my opinion. He beat Carlos Prates on short notice, then turned around and beat basically the number 1 contender, a former champion, the guy everyone glazed as boring but always winning. Yeah, Bilal came off that loss to JDM, who literally took the belt off of him, but still, those are legit wins for Ian. The point I'm trying to get across is simple. Ian deserves the damn title shot. He did the work. He took the risk, and he keeps answering every question people throw at him. And honestly, stylistically, man, this fight is very interesting. It's one of those matchups where both dudes have real strengths that collide in a crazy way. I think fans are actually sleeping on how good this fight could potentially be. And bro, besides all the technical stuff, this is honestly the closest thing we'll ever get to a McGregor versus Khabib 2. Not in terms of beef or chaos, but in terms of storyline energy. And I'm not saying this fight is literally like that, but you can't deny it has that spiritual sequel, You've got Ian Garry out here calling himself the protege of McGregor. Like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, I don't know if you guys saw that quote, but on the other side, you got Islam, who's literally the protege of Khabib. So now you accidentally created the perfect storyline. Ireland versus Russia 2.0. Like, unintentional. This is the remix. This is the franchise reboot. That's what I like to think. We saw Paul Hughes, Usman, and Nurmagomedov, but let's be honest. That was the Wish version. Respect to both those guys, but that wasn't exactly Conor versus Khabib energy. This Islam versus Garry, this is more like the Temu version. Now look, I already know the first reaction people are going to have. Bro, Islam's just going to walk him down and beat his ass. And honestly, that is entirely possible. I'm not here trying to convince you that Ian Garry is going to win, okay? If they fight, I do lean Islam. But with all that being said, the matchup is way more interesting and way more layered than people give it credit for. Yeah, I know. I saw what Islam did to JDM. He cooked him for 5 rounds. No debate. But JDM has holes. He's a pressure boxer with questionable wrestling defense and questionable defense in general in certain areas. Ian Garry is a completely different look. He's a phenomenal striker. And people glaze Islam striking like he's some elite kickboxer. But let's be real. Garry is a more educated striker. He's long, lanky, disciplined, and he fights like a damn sniper. When have we ever seen Islam fight somebody who's taller, longer, and actually knows how to use distance? Garry isn't like half of these welterweights who give up their reach by brawling. He uses his length, the long kicks, the jabs, the teeps, the reset, the pivot. He forces you to walk into shots you don't want to walk into. And against a guy like Islam, that matters because Islam's whole game is built on closing distance safely. But against someone who's controlling the range perfectly, he's got to cover more ground just to touch him. And those extra inches, that's where the damage happens. That's where the straight shots land. That's where the knees can come up the middle. That's where the calf kicks can start stacking up. And look, I'm not saying Garry wins, but I'm just saying that the matchup isn't some easy walk. You know what I'm saying? Garry brings problems that Islam hasn't had to deal with. Height, length, discipline, and the ability to maintain outside for long stretches. And that's what makes the fight so damn interesting. And look, man, we already saw how good Ian Garry is, when it comes to anti-wrestling. It's gotten better. It's clearly improved. People love to bring up the Shavkat fight like it defines him forever. But that dude is not the same Garry we're seeing now. The Bilal fight showed some real growth, actual technical discipline, takedown defense. He wasn't just sprawling and praying. He was getting out of the fence, circling, and controlling the real estate of the octagon. That's high-level stuff, bro. And when you look at Garry's tools, that's where things can get more interesting. His best weapon against Islam aren't his jabs and the kicks. It's the teeps to the body, the knees up the middle, the long calf kick, the check hook, and those sharp straight shots right as Islam changes levels. That's the kind of striking that punishes those entries. Garry's whole game is built around forcing you to walk through damage to get close. And that's exactly the kind of threat Islam has to respect. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you Islam can't take him down, because let's be real. We all watched Bilal versus JDM, and then we saw what happened when JDM fought Islam. Because let's just say how it is. Islam isn't shooting clean doubles. He's got a full sambo and Dagestani arsenal. We're talking about trips, inside reap, body locks, dumps, mat returns, the whole menu. When guys say anti-wrestler, they're usually talking about defending traditional shots. Islam brings way more than that. And that's what makes this matchup so tricky for Garry. Yes, he looks great defensively against Bilal, but in space. Out in the open, he can frame, pivot, and escape. But if Islam pins him to the fence, that's a whole different story. That's one area where Garry still gets a little stuck. His reactions aren't as sharp when his back is flat against the cage, and Islam lives there. That's literally where he cooks people. And I know some people are going to be like, well, Ian stuffed Bilal, so he can't stuff Islam, right? That's not how it works. Bilal's wrestling is solid, but Islam's sequence are suffocating. He doesn't just try once. He chains 5 or 6 attempts together until something cracks. And Garry hasn't faced that exact style yet. Against Bilal, he looked impressive. But the real question is, can he do that for 25 minutes against someone whose takedown attempts get more dangerous as the fight goes on? Now, with all that being said, I still think Islam on the feet is going to give Ian some problems back. And it's not because Islam is some crazy kickboxer. It's because he has the grappling in his back pocket. And that alone changes how you have to defend. Ian can't plant his feet the same way. He can't throw the same volume of kicks. He can't overextend on combinations. Every time he tries to settle into that sniper rhythm, Islam is going to be threatening a level change, a clinch, or a shot. That stress alone makes Islam striking way more dangerous than people would like to admit. And bro, that straight left from Islam, that's going to be a nightmare for Ian. Ian fights extremely tall, chin high, long upright stance, shoulders back, and that southpaw straight comes right down the pipe. That's the same angle Islam used to hurt Oliveira. When Ian pulls back with that chin up, or whenever he retracts a kick slowly, Islam's going to have the perfect lane to crack him. Garry is long, but he leaves a lot of space down the middle where he's resetting. Another thing is Islam's timing. His punches is when you're thinking about defending takedowns. When you drop your hands to fight your underhooks, he punches you. When you widen your stance to prepare for a sprawl, he punches. When you hesitate because you're not sure if it's going to be a shot or a jab, he punches. Ian is a rhythm-based striker. He needs a clean picture in front of him to snipe. Islam's going to give him like some type of chaos. Nothing looks the same. The jab looks like a takedown. The takedown looks like a jab. That left hand looks like a level change. Islam's entire striking game is built around making you guess wrong. And let's not forget the kick vulnerability. Ian is a long-rangey kicker. His teeps, his calf kicks, and body kicks, those are going to annoy Islam, but they can also be timed. He's going to get caught or level change under. Islam doesn't even need to catch a kick to take him down. Sometimes the threat of catching it is enough. If Ian becomes hesitant to throw those long weapons because of the takedown threat, Islam wins the striking automatically. A sniping striker without kicks is basically a boxer with a reach advantage. Still good, but way easier to read. But overall, I like this matchup. I think it's fun. I like the fact that Ian's tall, long, and lanky. no homo. And I think it's going to make the fight more interesting. With that being said, of course, I think Islam is going to win. I think he's going to dominate. But I do think Ian Garry can give him some problems here and there. But I honestly think that's the way to go. I don't think Michael Morales deserves it. I don't think Usman deserves it. I don't think Carlos Prates deserves it. All those guys need one more win. In my opinion, Ian Garry deserves this matchup. Book it, White House, whatever. I'm in. Let's see it.